what is current. Whose fault is this? Are they culpable? Will they get the hook eventually? We'll get to Darnold in a second. You heard what Joe Douglas, the general manager, said. Let's just start at the top right now with regards to everything with Adam Gase. Adam Gase, culpable? Yes, no. Should he go? Yes, no. What do you think? Been gone.
They should have shipped him off a long time ago.
All right. That's easy enough, Jay.
Yes, it's been a disaster for Adam Gase.
Now we should mention Joe Douglas. Remember, Joe Douglas reports to Christopher Johnson, who is the team's controlling owner at this juncture. Woody Johnson is now the United States ambassador to the United Kingdom. He was the day-to-day controlling owner before President Trump gave him that appointment. So right now, everything flows to the top of the org chart. It's Christopher Johnson. Right beneath him is general manager Joe Douglas, who has been on the job for 1.5 years, did not draft Sam Darnold. That's an important distinction to make. Joe Douglas, yes, no, part of the problem, part of the solution.
He's part of the solution. There's no question about it. He is certainly part of the solution.
He's a part of the solution and a little bit part of the problem if he keeps doubling down on Adam Gase. If he does this, I'm going to start to question that as well.
That's fair put. We should also mention that Joe Douglas was in pro personnel for the Eagles. That's essentially how he got this job, and his drafting has been pretty good. So the one thing that he could hang his hat on, I can draft for Kelly Green. No, I need to do it for Gang Green. He's been able to do it. You heard what he thought about Sam Darnold. I mean, this is obviously it's the quarterback position. It's the most important one. Darnold, part of the solution, yes or no?
Part of the solution, for sure. Certainly part of the solution. I don't even know why people don't see that there's nothing. He's not playing. I don't know how many times I got to say it. Who does he have? What is he playing with? Look at his coach. Look at his coach. You want him coaching you?
No.
Okay.
He is part of the problem, and he will be, sometimes in life it happens this way, Zubin, where regardless of whether you have a poor coach, regardless of whether you have poor ownership, by default, if an opportunity comes up for you to exponentially get better, if you do finish the season 0-16, I do not see how you will be able to pass on Trevor Lawrence. I don't. I think in this market, in New York City, the amount of pressure from people that will be talking about Trevor Lawrence as a generational type quarterback. Now, I know you can say, hey, let's use him as trade bait, let's surround him with the right people, but still the amount of pressure for us, we look at quarterbacks and teams by saying you are the face of the franchise. So you're telling me a guy who might be one of the best players, one of the best pro prospects we've seen come out of college. I know Key hates this comparison since Andrew Luck. That's what I've heard experts say. We're going to take that kind of potential and then say, but we're going to double down on Sam Darnold. If it doesn't work out with Sam Darnold, you will forever be crucified that you pass on Trevor Lawrence if he goes to another team and then excels the way we're seeing Joe Burrow excel this year with the Bengals.
And I'm willing to take that chance.
Okay.
I'm willing to take that chance if I'm Joe Douglas, because every single year there's a generational player.
That's not true, Key.
Every single year, somebody is a generational player. You can't miss prospect. I've watched it. I've been around it. I've seen it. There's a lot more due diligence that has to go into whether or not Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and anybody else in this year's draft is capable of carrying that mantle. I'm not going to get into what Trevor Lawrence is. If they believe that he's that guy, then they'll draft him. Clearly, Joe Douglas doesn't believe that, or else he wouldn't have said that.
I disagree with that.
Well, I'm just saying.
I think Joe Douglas has to say that.
No, he
right
doesn't.
now.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to say that, Jay. He can simply say we haven't arrived to that decision yet. We're still working on it with the next 8 games to go on what we're doing moving forward.
Why would you say?
Because you can be real. You don't have to sit there and say
no.
Somebody is your future. He didn't say. We're still evaluating Sam. Sam has some rough growing pains. He didn't say that. He said he is our future.
Keyshawn, we're in New York City.
I played in New York, and I played for the Jets, so I know what the New York City media market is about.
I'm not saying that your experiences don't lend to this. I've lived here my whole life as well. I'm just trying to tell you, if you're Joe Douglas and you're sitting up there, and if you're saying that, hey, we're still evaluating, then you add fuel to the fire of the rumors about all this stuff happening. This is a classic case of diffusing situations and saying,
Jay Will, if you sit up there and say somebody is your future and then you move on from him, you look like a damn liar.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't, because then what happens is, hey, he's our future. And then if you say that and you continue to lose, by the way, he set himself up perfectly. He's our future, and we're going to continue to assess his team on how we progress moving forward. If he doesn't progress, then you let him go and you take a rebuilding approach if you're able to get a Trevor Lawrence or a Justin Fields, whoever you determine to be number one pick in the draft.
Sam Darnold was the third pick of the draft 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He has no players around him. His best offensive weapon is now playing for the Carolina Panthers and Robbie Anderson. He has no players around him. He has a head coach that was fired from Miami and hired by the New York Jets, old brash, for what reason? And you're going to tell me that Sam Darnold is not capable of getting things done in New York when he get pieces around him.
I'm not saying that he's not capable. I'm just saying he may not be capable with the position that the Jets will be in. So essentially what you're saying with your argument, Key, is if either the Jets, the Giants, or the Miami Dolphins, if it came down to this, hypothetically, listen to me, if they got the number one pick, you're not letting go of any of those quarterbacks for the likes of Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields.
Why would I?
Okay.
Why am I just drafted Tua.
Okay.
What the hell am I waited for Tua to be there at 5. Why would I move Tua?
Okay.
What am I moving Tua for? That's crazy. That's insane for somebody to think that one of those two quarterbacks a year later, this is not Josh Rosen versus Kyler Murray. I think people are getting it twisted. Kyler Murray was selected as the number 1 overall pick because Cliff Kingsbury was hired. If Cliff Kingsbury was not Arizona's coach, Kyler Murray wouldn't be in Arizona. I think that's where people are missing this at. They keep thinking because one thing happened with Arizona that now this is the new trend in the National Damn Football League. Stop! Because it's not. Okay.
Fair enough. Obviously, Kingsbury and Murray have their relationship going back to the Big 12.
Yes.
I'm with you on that
Oklahoma.
relationship, yes.
But what happens is people are using that to say, well, it doesn't matter because look what happened in Arizona. And then they use it.
I'm not using that.
Well, I didn't say you, Jason. I didn't say you.
I love when you call me by my full government name.
Because you're cutting me off and it's rude. Anyway, so what I would say is, then they use the argument that Dabo Swinney may come too. Oh, you can package Dabo Swinney up with Trevor Lawrence. Like, just stop. Stop it. Sam Darnold's not going anywhere. What they're going to do with that number 1 overall pick is they're going to move it for somebody else. And if somebody else wants him, like the New England Patriots, for instance, take him. Give us your next 10 drafts, number 1 picks. If you believe that he's the next guy, then take him.
All right, we won't be talking about Joe Douglas that much longer in New York City then if that happens. Okay. All right.
Okay. Joe Douglas said it. I'm just going to point it out. Mel Kiper Jr. came on and said that either one of those quarterbacks are the number 1 guys, but Sam Darnold is a star waiting to happen, basically. Archie Manning said they got their quarterback. I've said they got their quarterback. Joe Douglas said they got their quarterback. Stop. Stop trying to set this New York narrative, man.
So because you, Archie Manning, and Joe Douglas say it, that means it's
that's right. That's right. Greg McElroy said he has a great family. Move on. Or he's a family. What was it? He's a family guy.
He's a family guy.
Family guy.
He's a family man.
He's a family guy. So Tom Brady won how many Super Bowls before he had a family? I'm just...
By the way, I'm bookended this morning with family men.
Yes.
He's a proud father, and Jay's about to be a father of 2. Joe Douglas just needs to keep in mind.
I did pretty well in my career, and I don't think I was a family man in the beginning. I'm just saying.
To be young, athletic, and in New York. We'll get to that some other time. That's have to be on a late night show, not on a late morning show.
The rated R version.
I think Derek Jeter did just fine in New York.
Hey, 2 words, gift baskets.
Yes.
It worked out well for DJ.
Yes, let me just autograph
Sign
this for you
baseballs.
here real quick. And Jeter now, by the way, is a family man for those of you.
And
he's
car
now
service,
got 2 kids.
Gift baskets,
All
car services.
right, we're going a little too overboard. Remember, for Douglas, you go
No,
back
we're
on
not.
your
We're telling the truth.
You go back on your word to Douglas. You better watch out with those New York Post back page headlines. We will
That's
see.
all I'm saying. That's all I was saying when you go back.
Keyshawn, J. Will Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our guests, including our Pats expert, who's going to be here in 30 seconds, join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And this is so apropos because after this long discussion about the Jets, who do they have next? They got the Pats on Monday Night Football. Let's talk a little New England.
For many years, Tom Brady he was covering up for some of those deficiencies. And now that he's not there, we can kind of see everything face value.
That was our guy Key yesterday on the show, essentially saying, hey, when you're the GOAT, you can make a lot of problems disappear. And for more on what's going on with New England, we head to the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line to bring in Mike Reese. He is our ESPN Pats reporter. He's covered the team for decades and is with them every day of the year. All right, Mike, we're not quite at the midway point because they've played 7 games, but you get the deal. Halfway through,